Well, hello, good morning. So moving on to week 9 in our discussion of the various policies, and we were in the unit having to do with healthcare financing. Last week, of course, was Lobby Day, so we got a taste, I guess, of some of the issues in financing as we listened to some of the bills, but that wasn't as focused a discussion. So I wanted to round off the discussion on financing with kind of looking again at Chapter 10. You read that in the week previously, and we did spend a little time talking about ACA and how that has changed care for vulnerable populations or issues in vulnerable populations, influences from ACA and other influences. But there were so many kind of good concepts in Chapter 10. I didn't want to finish this unit without spending a little bit more time. So you've hopefully already read the chapter. So I've posted 3 discussion questions that we'll consider. You pick one of those, and so they kind of have to do with some of the things that we haven't yet really dedicated ourselves to. So one has to do with QALYs and the idea of analysis using cost, and the idea of quality life years adjusted for various things, for chronic illness, age of the person, that sort of thing. So I want you to, some of you, please take that topic and look at what that kind of analysis means, and perhaps an example from either your clinical practice or a literature example. Then I wanted to approach the idea of entitlements, and of course almost all the reform discussion has to do with that entitlements will be protected. Entitlements, of course, are Medicare, and then depending on eligibility, Medicaid, and Social Security, of course, is an entitlement, but it doesn't have as much to do with health insurance. So, I want to discuss that just a bit and how those are potentially affected, and the whole idea of means testing, which kind of came into being with ACA, and what changes perhaps might influence that. And then finally, there's several case studies in this chapter, and the one on Medicaid expansion I think was particularly interesting. So some of you take that on and talk a little bit about the 23 states who did not expand Medicaid and what the potential effects are of that, and then under changes, which we really don't know kind of what is coming, what kind of impact that might have for those states and those populations. So I think that will make for an interesting discussion, and as always, if you'll post your initial response by midweek and then respond to 2 of your classmates' responses and try to look at questions that were not the ones that you selected. So that'll be that, and we'll get to the end of this first portion of the course, and then you have a week off, and I hope you'll have some opportunity for a little downtime. I'll get back to you on the cost analysis posters. I had a little bit of a snafu about that because of the deadline, and just inadvertently had the wrong deadline posted, so I'm hoping, I know some of them have been submitted, so I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that. If not, we'll figure out plan B on that. So, but do get those abstracts in to me so that I can give you feedback. I've got most of them, but a couple are still outstanding. So, looking forward to our discussion this week, and hope you have a good week.